All right, so when we edit the user, we want to send out a notification that shows in this panel here. The way to do that is if we say mutate before save, and for now we will just get rid of this comment. If we go ahead now, we have this bit here, and for this we can use the notification facade. We can make one here. We could say, for example, user updated, user has been successfully updated. We would need to, in this case, actually say send to database and set this to true. Actually, sorry, we need to pass in the user here, so of user. You could choose whichever user you want to set here, though. If we just change something here, you get the notification showing. Now, you may be wondering, why is this not showing here? Well, it's because it runs on a queue system. So, essentially, you could use something like Horizon, so that would basically just be getting Horizon here. And that would be one option. But if we take a look at our queue connection, it's database. At the moment, you see, we now use queue work, and it runs this notification here. We don't need to install Horizon in this case, using the database. You see, this is automatically gone ahead, it's added in here. You can mark it as red, or you can clear the notification. So that's the first way we can do this. We can do this upon saving. You can do other things in here as well. We can manipulate the data upon saving. We can pass in variables here. You can add in actions and much more. So we could, for example, say the user's been updated, and we could say data. And we could get the email here because we know we're getting an email through. So you can see we now have this updated. So that's one thing we can do. We can essentially get any of the data. And if you're wondering what data we get through, we can dive dump on that. You can see we have basically the data we get in the form field. That's it. It's basically just that. There's nothing special going on here. We can get rid of this, then it doesn't store in the database. We're also able to change this to, for example, a danger, and we could say, you see this like that. We can also change this to a warning, but let's just leave it as success for now. Now, one thing you, for example, could do in here is if the data, in this case, so we have essentially the user data here. So this is before it saves the data. So in this case, if we dive dump on data password, we get this here. So this is before it even goes ahead and process the password. Now, if we go ahead and dive dump on this, and essentially go ahead and be encrypted, we get this. So now, if we decide we wanted to check if the password had been changed and send in a danger to an admin, for example, we could go ahead and change this to body, change this to danger. We could say if, and in this case, we have the email address. We can say if data email, and then we can find it essentially. User find email where email. Then we can use the value property in here to get the password. So if we just go ahead and get rid of this if, actually. Died on the user. Let's see what happens. There we go. That's the original password. So we can say this user password. And then we can say if data is not the same. In this case, we could go ahead and say notification. So this is if they are not matching. We could go ahead and say the user's password has been changed. An email has been sent with the instruction to reset the password, or whatever you want to do. In this case, if you present will change the password. And we could send it to an admin, for example, if someone was going to go in and do something. This is just one example. In this case, you can see this has been changed. Now, if we decided to go ahead in the user form, look at the password, make sure that it's not required, and we just decided to save, it will give us an error with the password. Now, what can we do in this case? Because let's say we didn't want to change the password on save. We could go ahead and say in here, if they are the same, we could just say, well, the user password, in this case, we could essentially set a value in here if you wanted to, so that it just use the old value again. The only problem in this case is that we will have this mutate before save, and then it handles the record, and it goes through them here. So we have these things here where we could potentially manipulate the data. So we could just say data password to user password, see what happens. But for now, I think if we just leave it like that, but essentially the gist of it is that we can manipulate what data we send through, have a bit more control over it. But that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching it. Please hit the like and the subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.